The silence in the room was deafening, thick with the weight of 1,000 unspoken truths. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the otherwise still air. He stood there, bathed in the soft glow of the fairy lights strung across the patio, looking every bit the Prince Charming he'd convinced everyone he was. His smile, usually so effortless, seemed a little tight now, his eyes darting between me and the faces of our closest friends. Faces that were about to shatter. It had started innocently enough, or so I thought. A stray text message, a casual mention from someone else, a detail that just didn't add up. Then came the digging. Late nights, sifting through old emails, cross-referencing social media posts, piecing together a narrative that was far more twisted than I could have imagined. His name is Liam. Or at least, that's the name he went by for the last 5 years. The Liam who was suddenly this successful entrepreneur, this globe-trotting adventurer, this perfect specimen. He'd spun tales of daring escapes from shadowy organizations, of life-saving donations, of secret meetings with world leaders. And everyone bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. I'd been his biggest cheerleader. His confidant. The one who'd listened to his wild stories with wide-eyed admiration, who'd defended him when a few skeptics dared to question his impossibly charmed life. I'd even lent him money, believing in his grand vision, his imminent success. "Just a small bridge loan," he'd said, his hand gripping mine, his gaze earnest. "Once this deal closes, you'll be set for life." But the bridge loan never seemed to get paid back. And the deals, they always seemed to fall through at the last minute, with some dramatic, unbelievable excuse. A hacker attack. A sudden geopolitical crisis. A rival's assassination attempt. My unease began as a faint whisper. A nagging voice that told me something was off. Then it grew into a roar. The final straw was when he told Sarah, our mutual friend, that he'd just closed a massive deal in Singapore, the one he'd been talking about for months. Except, Sarah's sister worked for the company he claimed to have partnered with. And she'd never heard of Liam. Not even a whisper. That's when I went full detective. The evidence piled up like a morbid Jenga tower, each piece a confirmation of my worst fears. The private jet photos? Photoshopped. The exclusive invite to a charity gala? A blurry screenshot from a public website. The list of supposed high-profile contacts? A fabricated LinkedIn profile. The truth was, Liam was a serial liar, a master manipulator, and he'd been living a life built on pure fiction. And tonight, at his supposed celebration of success, a party I'd helped organize, was his undoing. I'd invited everyone. Our closest friends, people he'd regaled with his embellished adventures. People who'd invested in his non-existent ventures. People who'd believed in him. I'd spent days preparing. Not with anger, but with a cold, hard resolve. I had printouts. Screenshots. Emails. A carefully curated timeline of his deception. I'd rehearsed what I was going to say, over and over, until the words felt less like an accusation and more like a confession of my own naivety. As people mingled, laughter and clinking glasses filling the air, I caught Liam's eye. He gave me a confident nod, a signal that everything was going according to his grand plan. My stomach churned. Then, I took a deep breath and walked to the center of the patio, holding a small, unassuming folder. The chatter died down. All eyes turned to me. "Everyone," I began, my voice a little shaky, but growing stronger with each word. "Thank you for coming. Liam, thank you for hosting." I paused, letting the anticipation build. We're here tonight to celebrate Liam's success. And I think it's important that we all celebrate the real success. Liam's smile faltered for a fraction of a second. He recovered quickly. "Of course, darling," he said, his voice smooth as silk. "To new beginnings." Yes, I agreed, my gaze fixed on him. New beginnings. And the end of old stories. Specifically, the ones Liam has been telling us. A ripple of confusion spread through the crowd. Liam's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "What do you mean?" he asked, his tone a little too casual. "I mean," I continued, opening the folder, that the stories Liam has been telling us about his business, about his life, they aren't true. Gasps. Murmurs. Disbelief. Liam chuckled, a hollow sound. That's a bit dramatic, isn't it? She's just had a bit too much champagne. No, Liam, I said, my voice firm. I haven't had too much champagne. I've just had enough truth. I pulled out a printed email, holding it up for everyone to see. This is an email from the CEO of Global Innovations, the company Liam claimed he was partnering with in Singapore. It states, quite clearly, that they have no record of any collaboration with Liam Anderson, or any other alias he might be using. The room was silent again, but this time it was the heavy silence of shock. Faces, moments before beaming with pride, were now contorted with disbelief and dawning horror. And these, I continued, laying out more printouts, are photos of Liam's private jet. Turns out, they're just stock images from a travel agency website. The exclusive charity gala? A picture from last year's event, clearly visible on their public Facebook page. Liam's face had gone pale. His eyes were wide, his composure completely gone. He looked like a cornered animal. And the money, I said, my voice softening slightly, laced with a deep sadness. The money some of us lent him. The investments. It all went nowhere. Because there was never a deal. There was never a company. There was just Liam and his stories. Sarah stepped forward, her face a mask of hurt. Liam, is this true? He opened his mouth, but no sound came out. He just stared, his carefully constructed world crumbling around him. Then, a wave of emotions washed over me. Betrayal, sharp and bitter. Shock, still lingering from the sheer audacity of his lies. And a strange, quiet satisfaction. A sense of justice being served, not with revenge, but with truth. People started to move away from him, their expressions a mixture of anger, disappointment, and disgust. The fairy lights, which had seemed so